Alright, now we have example B. This one is a word problem, which is fine. We still use the exact same steps. It says Mark's lap time for the 100-meter dash was 12.5 seconds on his first trial. His second trial time was 14.25 seconds. What was the change in percent between his first trial and second trial? Okay, so our first step is to label the new amount and the original amount. Okay, well, they made it pretty easy in this one because they used words like first and second. So 12.5 seconds on his first trial. So step one is to find this is the original amount. And the new amount is right here because it says the second. So this is the new amount. Okay, so that's step one. Step two is to identify if this is increasing or decreasing. So it went from, step two, it went from 12.5 to 14.25. Did that get bigger or smaller? It got bigger, so this is an increase. So our answer is going to be an increase. Okay, step three is to find the amount of change. Okay, step three, the amount of change. So we take the bigger minus the smaller. So 14.25 and 12.5. Okay, I have a blank spot here, so I'm going to put in a 0, and I subtract. Now, just a little reminder, whenever you are subtracting or adding with decimals, the decimals must line up. Okay, so 5 minus 0 is 5. 2 minus 5, we're going to need to borrow. This is going to be 12, and this is going to be 3. 12 minus 5 is 7. Take that decimal straight down so that they all line up. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then 1 minus 1 is nothing. So my amount of change is 1.75. Okay, step 4 is to set up our proportion. This is step 4 over here. So right here in the top, this is the amount of change, which we just found is 1.75. Down here is the original amount, which is right here, it's 12.5. And over here is the percent of change, which is what we're trying to find, so that's our x. And right here is 100. Percent proportion and percent of change, that's always going to be 100. All right, and step 5 is to solve. So, step 5. I have 1.75 over 12.5 equals x over 100. Okay, yes, you could simplify, but with those decimals, it's a little tricky, so I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to cross multiply and divide. So I have 12.5x equals 1.75 times 100. Okay, so 12.5x equals, anytime you multiply by 100, you're really just going to move these decimals to this decimal 2 times to the right. That's something that eventually you will remember, but assuming that you didn't remember that, 100 times 1.75. 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 1 is 5. Add a 0 here and go on to the 7. 7 times 0 is 0, 7 times 0 is 0, 7 times 1 is 7. Add 2 zeros and go on to the 1. 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 0 is 0, and 1 times 1 is 1. Add this all up. You have 2 numbers behind the decimal and the answer, so that is 175. Just like I said, move the decimal 2 times to the right, so that's 175. Okay, now I need to get rid of that 12.5 that's in front of the x. So divided by 12.5, divided by 12.5. So now x is by itself, and I just need to do this division. I'm going to come over here. 175 divided by 12.5. You cannot divide with a decimal on the outside. We already did a lesson like that. You have to move it one time to the right. If you do it out there, you have to do it in here. Even though you don't see one, the decimal is hiding at the end. Even though there's no number after it, you still have to move it, and in that blank spot you put a 0. So I have 1,750 divided by 125. Okay, so 125, it will not go into 1 or 17, but it will go into 175 one time. 125, subtract. 5 minus 5 is 0, 7 minus 2 is 5, and 1 minus 1 is nothing. Now I bring down this 0, and I have 500. Will 125 go into 500? Yes, definitely, but I don't remember how many times. So I'm going to have to guess and check. 125, every time I do my guess and check, I start at 5 unless I have a reason not to. Because 5 is right in the middle, and I can tell if I need to go up or down. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So 625. That's too much, so I need to go down. I'm going to go to 4. 125 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 500 exactly, which is what I needed. Okay, so x equals 14%. So my answer, x equals 14% increase. Now, that one was hard because of all those decimals and big numbers. Hopefully you won't have too many like that. But the word problem is not what made it hard. In fact, having those words in there kind of made it easier because they used words like first and second. Okay? So the problems that you guys need to do hopefully won't be too hard, but if you do have decimals, I did examples of like every kind of decimal problem in here. So you can come back to this and rewatch it. All right, you guys do your problems. Good luck.